Good evening to members of the media. No, I don't. No, I think I've got a big respect for Coach Ernst and his opinions. But it's too early to say that the league is wrapped up because it's such a long way. No league title has ever been won in January, and so many games to go. Congratulations to the players, congratulations to the technical team, congratulations to the entire club and to the Mamelodi Sundowns supporters. An important win against a very difficult team. And yeah, so we expected it. We spoke about it even here in the presser. We said it was going to be difficult, and it proved to be very, very difficult. But this is the games that win you championships.
Coach, they say a good goalkeeper or an exceptional goalkeeper can get you about 12 to 18 points a season. Is Rulani that kind of keeper? Because I'm really, I think he's the player of the season so far.
Interesting that you say that. He's been extremely consistent, and but they say a good boxer needs a very good sparring partner, and he just so happens to have exceptional goalkeepers around him. Dennis Onyango is exceptional. Kennedy is exceptional. Riyad Peter is exceptional. And Jody February exceptional too. So, and then the goalkeeping department is led by a very good human being in Coach Wendell Robinson, who happens to be a former professional football player and an extremely talented football coach all around. And so when you have that in that space, it's not only about Ronza, who has improved his game tremendously. Tactically is at a very, very good level. His communication is very important for how we want to play. And the bravery to be able to take a few risks in certain situations. Not so evident today. You saw it against Pirates, especially with the teams that press very, very aggressive from the top. And so, yeah, good. Just needs to keep his feet on the ground and keep working. And of course, then the others who are at a very, very good level themselves, as I've mentioned, need to just keep pushing each other, and it will take the team forward to a very good space.
Good evening, Coach.
Good evening, Karabo.
Congratulations on the victory.
Thank you, sir.
4 games, 12 points, 4 wins, nothing conceded as of yet, ever since you've been head coach. Just a comment on that. And secondly, Coach, how far is Mokwena?
For 4 games, well, it's not necessarily there 4 games, because I know the change happened, but from a personal space, it was always co-head coach, you know what I mean? So not really for me too much excitement in that space, as long as the club keeps winning. The supporters keep getting happy, and the players do very, very well. I must commend them today, because I know we changed the structure and the shape a little bit because of the block. At half time, we took Mshishi to a different position. We took Mayema to a different position. And it was very difficult for them to readjust to that, because we have not trained that way. But and sometimes these things work, sometimes they don't work. And today I think it worked well for us, and we won the game. So at the end, is huge compliments to the players for their tactical versatility and their ability to adhere to instructions and adapt to, and that's because of their quality, to be honest. So the 4 games that you speak about is because of the players' quality, and not enough is said about it. So, but I want to praise them, because they are just honest professionals, honest professionals. How far is Bongani Zungu? He's got a slight setback now with a small injury that's going to pull him a little bit further behind. A bit of complication with the pelvic area and the abdominal area slash hernia slash groin is that type of spare spot. Not a serious thing, but just a slight setback, and he should be ready to go very soon too.
Coach, how important is it for a player like Cassius to be in a space where the goal is not coming, the game is like, to develop that muscle to keep fighting when the goals are not coming? Because sometimes when you keep scoring, it's easy, but when you are in that type of situation where you're facing a low block, how important is it for him to learn those type of things and also to understand that creating is as good as scoring as well?
So very good question. It's also got a very simple answer. Offensive players only improve through experience, and it's young players that play in the defensive line, midfield line, can get better through training, through a lot of assistance with simulating the situations, because the pictures from that are close to being pictures that you can predict. That's why defensive organization is a little bit more easier to set up than offensive organization. And so players like Cassius will only get better with being on the pitch, because you can't simulate these situations. You can't simulate pressure. You can't simulate situations where you've scored in the previous game and in this game you don't score, or the angle is like this in this situation, and 3 seconds later you've got a little bit more space. Offensive players have to be on the pitch to get better. And that is the process for Cassius, for Nasir earlier. In the season, Cassius was scoring, and I said, hey, but I said, he's still calm, long way to go. And still, I still stay calm, long way to go, very long way to go for Cassius. We sit today, don't know for how long, but for a very long period, and we do corrections, and we sit and we show him the pictures, and of course then the pictures don't come exactly the same way, but the feel, the adaptation to the different situations on the pitch, they happen. And so the only way for him to get better for sure is to live the moments on the pitch, and that's going to happen with all the others. We've got a very promising youngster in Jerome that I think will come up and will be something special. We've got Ntando, who's at the first team now, got a little bit of also a setback, but a youngster that's going to be something also special, Ntando. And then, of course, you've got players that have very good experience and quality around Cassius, which is important. Training with Tembazwane every day, training with Peter Shalulile every day, training with Hashim Domingo, training with Lisedi Kapinga, training with Gift Mutupa, training with good players around him will make him better. These youngsters, they get to watch and learn, and that's also just as important, so I think the future is very bright, and hopefully we can move into that space where a lot more talent is coming through the youth system and into the first team than we are taking from outside and bringing into the first team.
Coach, now from myself, now on the subject of low blocks, we were sitting in this very same press room when you were against DS Galaxy, when you were explaining Catanacho, and it seems like you have improved, the team has improved playing against the low blocks. I know we've always said you cannot blame the opposition coach's tactics, but the team has to find a way how to break down the low block. And I know you've always believed in the diamond since the beginning of the season, and you said it's the finer details and you'll get it right. But what do you put it down to? Improving getting better playing against a low block. And you mentioned that Mahema played in a different position today, and on Saturday I mentioned that the eights as well are so important in the system. Yeah. What is it exactly that you think has improved playing against the low block?
We play a lot faster. We play a lot faster now. Before the opposition arrives in the gaps and the spaces, the ball arrives. We found the complication with having a right footer on the left in the first half with Gaston Sirino, and then when you have that situation, you play in front of, for an example, a Greg or a Lukubeni. But then when you, in the second half, when you get the double wide on the left a little bit, which is the situation we wanted, then both the left footers get an advantage to get this side of the line. So when Sifiso arrives, he arrives this side of Greg Damon's. When Noah arrives, he arrives on this side of Lukubeni, Nico. And the goal came from that. And then we also moved Tembazwane out because he was being man-marked. And then we moved him a little bit more to the side. And that would free up a little bit more space inside. And as I say, sometimes these things work, sometimes they don't work, but that's what we did, and that's what the players responded to. And for sure, at the end, like I say, at the end is because the players are playing a lot faster. They see the situations a lot quicker, and they move the ball a lot quicker into the spaces before the opposition arrives. So it's huge compliments to this group of players, as I said earlier, and it takes us to a very good level, and we have to keep improving. We have to keep improving. We are not even anywhere close to the team that we have the potential to become. And so, in the after Pirates, Trapattoni Tratmoloto spoke a little bit, and he said, "You are good to the group," but he said the challenge is, can you get better? And that was experience talking, and that's the challenge now for us is, can we get better and get better and get better and get better? And that was the great advice that was given to the players, and so that's the focus is getting better and better and better and better, and we have to still get better. Good evening, Fagude.
Question number one, well done for the victory.
Thank you, sir.
First one is Nazir, the injury that you got against Pirates, and then also Shadul, how far in terms of his injury, and then the other one, you're talking about the development, you talk about the youngster Jerome that you believe that he's going to come up. Two players that were promising at Sundowns, Mafala and also Mukuma. Do they still have a future at Sundowns? And then maybe the last one with the permission.
That's 4 questions. I don't know if you will be able to remember all. Maybe let's
I'll
take
remind him, don't worry. The game against Chippa United, yes.
Chippa Richards Bay.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Richards Bay questions, we'll take them afterwards so that we just wrap up with the Richards Bay questions. I think there will be 2 or 3 questions for Richards Bay.
So you must not answer the Richards Bay.
Yeah, no, Richards Bay, we'll have questions around the Richards Bay. Yeah. That's part of the plan, just so for the post-match.
Keletso and Promise, for sure. You don't discard exceptional talent too early, and we are all clear that there is exceptional talent in both, and so the journeys are very different because circumstances, environments, support systems around the individuals, and then also the intrinsic motivation that plays a big role in that. So whether they succeed or not is a lot up to them. But I would always say be very careful of discarding the exceptional talent, because some blossom a little bit later than others, and we have to give them a fair chance and see how far we can assist them also. Second question was Nasir. Yes, Peter is a different specimen. Has a completely different social life. He lives only football. He breathes football. He's fit. He's strong. He trains, and he is ready. From my perspective, but I have to also trust the medical department in the football club, who have done exceptional work with the history of the injuries and the rehabilitation. You can go as far as River, for an example, and how they've brought him back. And so their advice is far more important than mine. And they have advised that we tread a little bit more cautiously with Peter. But I don't think Peter is far off because of the specimen that he is, different profile. So I don't think he's far off. Nasir, there's good and bad. The bad is that he's out for quite a bit of time. Something very similar to Hashim Domingo, because that type of tackle is not even just the ankle, but it's the knee. So there's issues in both the ankle and the knee. Fortunately, is not too severe with the knee, and is not so severe with the ankle. The ankle is a little bit worse off than the knee, but does not need surgery. That's the good news. And so again, that is also he will be seeing an ankle specialist in the next few days, and then we will probably have a proper time frame for Nasir.
Yeah, one question. But Coach, good congratulations on the win.
Thank you, sir.
I just needed to find out, Coach. I mean, you've got this Sundowns team that the buzz is all around them, and of course there's uncertainty within the camp with January, the transfer window. How do you then do away with that? Because the players on their own, I think there's camaraderie, and they are with each other, for each other. I saw that, and that's what I was
for sure
as I was sitting there.
Mm.
How do you get that balance right, knowing which one would be looking out the window to say I should be leaving, or maybe I'll be pushed out? And just a follow-up on that, Andy Lechari got a standing ovation from his own players and the fans as soon as he stood up for warm-up. Last time we spoke nicely about him, but how has he been, knowing very well that he's still within the team and he's still playing?
No, the AJ situation hasn't changed, and I'm still there. I cannot give enough plaudits, and you run out of superlatives. And of course, then you see it from the supporters, and you see it from his teammates, and that's sometimes the most important. Is how the people around you react to you and with you, especially in AJ's position. How do we manage the situation? We don't manage it. It's because we have very good human beings. Part to signing for Mamelodi Sundowns is, one, you sign for an elite and a high-performing environment, and high-performing environments have two demands. One is talent, of course, and they wouldn't be here if they were not talented. And the second is intrinsic motivation that is consistent, not just with good intensity and wavers up and down, and all those things for me are encompassed and covered by being good human beings, and far more important than anything else is the fact that we are coaching, and very fortunate to be coaching very good human beings, and that makes the job a lot more easier, where they've won so many trophies together. They've built a very good, strong family spirit, and a strong sense of brotherhood, and huge compliments, as I say, to the entire group. When you speak of the individual performances, which I shy away always from, earlier of Ronwen, you can't not speak Ronwen without mentioning Dennis and Kennedy and Riyadh, but the same can be said about Grant and Mtobi. You can't talk about Grant, Mtobi without mentioning how Musa is pushing them and how Rushin is pushing. You can't speak about only Modao without speaking about Tapelo. You can't speak about Sfiso today, and you see how he has improved, but without speaking about how important Zayda Mudiba is. So you can go on, Gaston, and you can go on and on and on, but it is because of the collective brotherhood and collective quality that they compete first within, so that it's easier to compete against.
Coach, can I please take you back to last week, the press conference?
Sure.
You mentioned something which grabbed a lot of attention about the changes within the technical team. I know it may be a bit tricky, but if you'll be able to navigate around it. How does these changes, do they affect Coach Mangoba and Coach Steve?
Hearsay, speculation, no. We are very happy with the contributions of the entire technical team, and when I said that it is only normal, it is only normal. Graham Potter took over from Thomas Tuchel, and there were changes. For sure, there were changes. The previous coach of Mamelodi Sundowns left and went to a different club, and there were changes and technical changes. So it's only normal, this thing, and sometimes it's blown out of proportion because it happens maybe a little bit in between the periods where there's not a lot to talk about from a football perspective. And so that's the only thing that I can say with regards to that. But the club is very happy with everyone, from Coach Steve to Coach Mangoba to Coach Wendell to Sbu, who's the physical trainer, to the analysts, the club. And at the end of the day, it's the club that decides. The club decides my stay. The club decides everyone else's stay, not just me. And because the club is far more important than any individual and will outlive each and every single one of us. Each and every single one of us. It's too big an institution for myself included to think that I am bigger than the club. So I can only reiterate how happy we are to work with each other and for each other, and and be at service for the football club.
Coach, now back to Fabuda's question about Richards Bay. That's what we expect.
Yeah, fortunately, Richards Bay was played against Morocco Swallows. So when we did Morocco Swallows analysis, it was like killing two birds with one stone. What has to happen now is the simple process of recovering, get lots of rest as quickly as possible, drink lots of fluids, and try to bring the bodies back. That's the first step. And then it's the analysis tomorrow morning. First thing as we come back for regen, we will do some video clips about today, so we wash it out of our system. And then we go into Richards Bay the next day. So we still have a little bit of time to go through that. It's going to be a difficult team. Their last game was against the very same Swallows, which they won 1-0. Didn't focus too much on them myself personally because of the focus on Swallows, and I've just have this thing of killing one step at a time, or going one step at a time. But I think you can see where they are on the log. You can see the consecutive wins. You can see the organizational forms. Difficult team to beat, and it's going to be very interesting because also they've got some very good players, some very, very good players, and so it's going to be a tough one as well. So you have to get ourselves ready for it.
Any questions regarding Richards Bay? I think from my side, Coach, with the other teams complaining about the congestion of the January fixtures, Sundowns is a space that you are used to. So with regards to the little rest in between, what do you say to the players in making sure that also they don't go into the next game thinking that we won against Swallows and they are on too much of a high, and just the recovery process?
Yeah, we trained for that, and that's why maybe in the break we had this simulated program from a physical perspective where we had games every 2-3 days in that period where we went to Polokwane. And now there's a lot of work that goes in behind the scenes, and the support that we get from the entire technical team is so important, because the coaches have to work very, very hard on the mentality and that's also a space where Steve, Kompela, Mangoba Mngiti especially are very experienced in that space as coaches, having been in that space before and having run the marathon already way before I ever did. And their support and their work, and with the medical department, with Spoo, the physical trainer, their work now to bring the body back, the mentality back, the psychological aspects back, is going to be very, very important. And then we work on the tactics after. So no complaints, we knew about it, and we just have to just go one game at a time, and that's what we're doing. We're just going one game at a time and trying to do our best to continue to win. So far, 8 in a row, conceded 1 in 8. It's when it looks and everybody thinks it's easy, that's when it's actually very difficult. And I cannot speak about it if I don't mention how impressed and how proud of the players I am as their coach, and they also know that I was listening to Toby's post-match interview against Pirates, and he says, "Yeah, I won man of the match, but there's corrections. I know there's corrections." And they will know that there is corrections today. They know. So they will get the game from the analysts, and then they go home. I want them to rest for sure, but I also want them to review the game. That's what elite athletes do. And so I'm proud of this group, and huge kudos, and I hope that's what makes the headlines for the next 2 days, that Rulani is proud of the group, is proud of the Sundowns players, and not the other stuff, because the game of football belongs to the players.